it's been a while since we've done this, guys. Get together, have a bit of a chin wag, casual chat, and catch up about what we've been doing, what we've been buying. Are you a big collector, Gary? You go and find bargains here and there.
Yes, it's like whenever somebody recommends a movie or I run across it on Facebook or whatever, I immediately write it down and end up getting it. I mean, I'm horrible like that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, half of the joy, I think, Matt, is in finding this stuff as cheap as you can possibly get it. But I'm not against treating myself now and again from time to time. And I know that you're not either, are you? What's the latest things that you've been picking up? Go on, show us.
Oh, okay. Well, first one that I actually got was a British movie that I remember seeing in the video store, the cover for, but never actually owning. And when I found out what the actual plot was, I was like, oh, that seems like a movie I'd actually be interested in back in the 80s. So this one's called The Amazing Mr. Blunden.
Oh, the Lionel Jeffries thing.
Yes. Lionel Jeffries actually directed this. And of course, he was known as the guy from he was Cractus's Potts
Dad, and Chitty Bang Bang.
And he did so many other famous things in British cinema. So this is about a ghost thing. So it's also got Madeline Smith in it. Now, if you aware of who Madeline Smith is, oh my God, check out The Vampire Lovers. You will die, seriously, if you're a straight male.
Redhead with the big jugs in in Roger Moore's James Bond movies. Yeah, she's absolutely
she was in the Up Pompeii as well with Frankie Howard, and she was check out The Vampire Lovers as well.
There's time travel in that movie, right, Matt? Is there like a time travel element to that movie?
I don't know. I haven't actually seen this one yet. This is something that I heard about, and I was like, this is something that I'd be in. But I remember seeing the cover. This is a very famous cover that I remember seeing on the video shows in the 80s.
That movie's been a little bit forgotten, even in Britain. It's been one of the films that have sort of Chitty Bang Bang gets shown all the time. That. And I don't know if you've ever seen the animated version of the Water Babies. That's also disappeared. You just never see them anymore.
Never seen the Water Babies. I might have to check that out if that's but this has only just been released on Blu-ray in the UK. So I got this via Amazon. So that's one of them. And another one that
you import quite a lot, don't you, Matt? But sometimes they do Australia, you dirty, don't they?
Australia, these sort of things would never ever get released here, ever. We only have a very few special DVD release places that actually do cater to us special people that like to collect
a local shop for local people
like such as Cinema Cult here in Australia, who released Mr. Sardonicus. Now, if you're not aware of Mr. Sardonicus, it's a horror movie. The
world's worst ever Mr. Man book ever written.
Well, if I read the back of this, it's from William Castle, who did a lot of like the House on Haunted Hill and all those classic, The Tingler and all this. Well, he did this one, and it was with a lot of Vincent Price stuff. And so
I'm terribly immature, everybody. The word Tingler is just enough for me. Great.
I said that with a straight face, so there you go. So this is in desperate to retrieve a winning lottery ticket, a greedy baron unearths his father's corpse. An enormous jackpot is his reward, but not without a price. His face is frozen permanently into a hideous grin. So I have to.
It's kind of like a Joker thing, right?
I'm not laughing. Yeah, that sounds.
It's got Guy Rolfe, who was well known for horror things. He's also known in the Puppet Master movies as well.
Oh, okay.
So that's one I haven't actually watched yet. Another one. How can you have Halloween without Karloff? So this one's just been released in the last couple of weeks, and it's a triple pack by Eureka in the UK. So this is imported, and it's got a couple. I think it's got Lugosi in it as well. can't go wrong with him on Blu-ray at all. I love a car off.
They put together like 3 or 4 or 5 movies in one slipcase, particularly if they wouldn't be better elsewhere, if they star the same guy, or they've got a lot of the same themes, or they're by the same studio around the same time.
Oh, Universal, what do you expect? You know, they just booted them out all the time, you know, just constant, you know. But a little bit of a change of pace here. The Jetsons on Blu-ray.
Oh.
And this is Warner's Archive. So, Warner's Archive, if you're not aware, these are region free.
I didn't know that. No, because there's a couple of those that I'd like, and I will order them now. You've said that.
Only Warner's Archive though, but a few Warner's stuff is actually region free as well. But this one, Archive, is a little different because, like I said to you before in like our earlier podcast with the with Rankin and Bass, where they used to have animated little vignettes in between that would showcase the person that sponsored the actual show. These actually include all of the sponsorships, which are also animated. So Jetsons was created and was actually sponsored by Colgate. So this actually has, the brought to you by Colgate, and then suddenly, there'll be
Come to think of it, in the animation, there's a lot of that Colgate ring is a graphic that features a lot in that show. Could that be why?
Yeah, probably. I mean, there was only one season of the Jetsons in the 60s. So, but yeah, these are really, really cool. If you can get these, they're expensive. I had to ship mine from America, but they're really well worth it.
Well, we covered the Jetsons on Listed, I think it was the New Year's show, and I watched a selected number of episodes from the original 60s one and the stuff they did in the 80s, and I liked all of it. I thought it was really, really nice.
They get them from the source material. That's the reason why they've still got the ads attached, the sponsorship deals and all that, still, because it's from the actual original archive. Which is another one that I got was Thunder the Barbarian.
Love that.
God, I've
love that.
In fact, it might have been you that shared a picture of it, Gary. I know that I've seen this
online. I ordered
what exactly is this? Is this an animated series or a movie, or what is it?
This is way before He-Man. Just imagine. Apparently, it's science fictiony. It's sort of science fiction meets Planet of the Apes sort of thing. But what happens is that a civilization is cast into ruin when a runaway planet speeds between the Earth and the Moon, unleashing cosmic destruction. 2,000 years later, Earth is reborn from the ashes with a savage landscape, strange creatures, and a primitive sense of justice. And
that's in the opening credits, Dan.
Yeah.
Hang on, read that description again.
Okay. Civilization is cast into ruin when a runaway planet speeds between the Earth and the Moon, unleashing cosmic destruction. 2,000 years later, Earth is reborn from the ashes with a savage landscape, strange creatures, and a primitive sense of justice.
It sounds just like the Black Country, particularly at the weekend when.
That sounds really racist.
He's setting you up for that one, Matt.
Extraordinary. The world outside of my window here in
that's
Birmingham.
the introduction.
I should clarify the Black Country. It's a geographical area. It's not a description of the people who live in the area.
You're cancelled.
Coal mining territory. I know they've already got me. Oh no! Hashtag cancel down.
Little bit of trivia. This was actually produced by Ruby Spears, who used to work for some company called Hanna-Barbera. And they were the
Superman
brains
show, didn't they?
Yeah, they were the brains behind Scooby-Doo, really. And then when Scooby-Doo got big and Hanna-Barbera took all the credit and everything like that, they decided to offshoot and go off on their own. So they did things like Goober and the Ghost Chasers and all this weird stuff. And Rubik's Cube and all this really weird stuff. But now Hanna-Barbera bought them and now Warner Brothers owns Hanna-Barbera, so it's all under the one umbrella now.
It's all got
but
amorphously.
One quick thing, well, before Matt moves on that on Thundar, is that even though it was only on for one season, it's still really, really well loved. It's almost, if you had to put a genre to this show, I would say it would be science fantasy, because so much of it is there's a lot of wizards and stuff, but the creator wise, Jack Kirby, who's the Jack Kirby, as well as Alex Toth, who did a lot of were the Alex two designers of this show, and it's clear the Kirby-esque influences on this show are all over the place. And and some of the writers like Steve Gerber, who was a big writer for Marvel in the 70s, wrote for this series. So there's a lot of big comic names associated with this series.
So is it sort of similar lines to that Commandy, The Last Boy on Earth? That
I love
created.
Dan, you're the best. I loved Commandy. It's very similar.
Yeah. So this is another
delightful.
region-free disc. So go and order it wherever you can find it. I had to get this from eBay. Yeah. So
Alex Toth, I've seen his designs. Did he work on the Star Trek animated show? I've seen some of his rough.
He was very well known. Not really. He was very well known for things like creating Space Ghost,
Super Friends. Did he work on that?
Yes.
Yes.
That
yes,
must have
he
been
did.
It then. Okay.
Yes, he did. Johnny Quest, all those ones. That's him.
Yeah.
Never seen Johnny Quest.
He's a bit of an enigma. Oh, that's another one that's available in the archives. So check it out, and it's well worth it. Yep, got that one.
It looks really, really.
Brilliant.
It just looks wonderful. It
it's
looks like the kind of
these are so much loved. These are all the love of animation goes into producing these Blu-ray sets, and sometimes the DVDs when they came out, they're actually edited, and these are straight from the source, unedited, and they're well worth it, even for the extra cost. Well worth it. I also have the World of Brothers Grimm as well, and that's amazing and beautiful, and
that
it's
was
live
definitely
action.
shown here. Some of these, I think some of them were shown and some of them weren't, particularly the ones that were a little bit before my time, because you know what it's like with animations, like new stuff always comes along and nobody wants to see the old stuff when there's new stuff, so these things, they just disappear after a time. So I certainly never saw Johnny Quest on TV in the UK by the time I was watching children's television and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's even a disclaimer on this archive set. It says Johnny Quest, the complete original series, is presented as originally aired. It is intended for the adult collector and may not be suitable for children.
Yeah.
Wow, that's sensitively worded.
There's death and everything in Johnny Quest, but it's with a lot of fun and entertainment. So another one that I imported with the Thundar, the Barbarian. I bought it in a lot with Jetsons and that. Was a movie that I have loved for the last 20 years, but it's very difficult to find.
Okay.
And it was first only produced for television, but I did discover that it's actually like. Just hang on a minute. I'll be back in a minute.
Oh, cliffhanger.
No, Dan, actually, to clarify, I think the one reason why Hanna-Barbera put that disclaimer on this is because there were a couple of dialogue references that may be considered racially insensitive.
Oh, I see.
Now. But in previous releases, those were either dubbed over or just axed altogether, or the scene was axed or whatever. But because this is complete with all the original dialogue and scenes, that's probably why they felt the need to put that kind of, as you said,
because language changes, doesn't it? And words like Mandarin used to be, in free use, didn't they? When talking about certain sort of cultures, and now you're not allowed. Like, what's that character? It is called the Mandarin, isn't it? In Marvel Comics that Ben Kingsley played in one of the Iron Man movies, and don't they call him the Mandarin anymore?
Well, that character, the Mandarin in the comics, had been around since the 60s. It was very much of like a Fu Manchu-esque kind of character. But yeah, they started retro fitting a lot of those characters. In Johnny Quest, the main villain is a recurring character named Dr. Zin, Z-I-N, who's kind of a Asian character and stuff. And so I think that there was such a fan push to release the unedited versions, but they thought, how can we do it and yet still acknowledge that, you know, times have changed.
I'm going to say, because it isn't as if any of us want to literally dial back the decades to old attitudes and things like that, but these things are to be enjoyed in context, aren't they? And
absolutely. It's like, that's why, you know, this phenomenon that I know you discussed on the Spacebook before about everybody wants to judge all the movies and TV shows that were produced decades before by today's standards. And you just can't do that.
No, it's really immature. He's back. And to prove it, he's here.
So, what were we talking about?
We were just talking about why they felt the need for that kind of disclaimer.
Oh, look. I mean, it happens in everything now.
I mean, I have no problem with disclaimers at all.
I watch a lot of British movies from like the 50s and 40s and that, and like they all have that introduction to it now, where it's like not quite culturally appropriate these days. So another one that I was looking forward to getting was a movie with it actually starred Craig T. Nelson and Kim Cattrall and they made it in the late 90s, and it's called The Creature, Peter Benchley's Creature. And it's just released on Blu-ray. And if you've never seen this, it is well worth it. It was made for TV, which is a bit odd.
I was going to say, is it a movie or a miniseries? Because this is really
it is a miniseries. Yes, it has. When you actually go and watch it, it's actually night 1 and night 2 instead of part 1, part 2. And this is well worth it. Unfortunately, it is a Region A disc, so I'm lucky enough to have a Region Free Blu-ray player. But it's if you can get it, even on DVD, get it, because it's well worth it. And this was in widescreen for some reason, which surprised me since it was made for television. So I don't know about that. Maybe Ian could put.
So is it another nautical nightmare then, being it was made by Peter Benchley?
Well, you got to look at it. Look at the creature on it. Like I don't know if you can see. There you go. Look at that.
Amphibious.
Yes, he's half man, half. He's actually like he's half man, half
that
shark.
Looks pretty cool. Yeah,
so
cool.
It's well worth it. I mean, it's great acting, and you know, it's
Craig T. Nelson is one of those names that I know it. But I don't know what I've seen him in.
Poltergeist.
Coach.
We didn't have Coach here.
Oh, okay.
It's an American thing, American football. So anyway, almost finished. So another one that I was really looking forward to getting, and I thought, I wonder if that's available on Blu-ray. I know they wouldn't sell it here, and I know I can't get it on Disney Plus.
Just the visions of you importing all this.
Oh, bloody oath all the time, I tell you. So this is a movie that I saw very briefly on the wonderful world of Disney, and I hadn't actually seen it in a long time, and I couldn't really understand it at the time, but it was very visually striking. Now, this one is called, it actually stars, you may know him, The Prisoner, the one out of The Prisoner.
Patrick McGowan.
Patrick McGowan.
This is called The Scarecrow of Romney Marsh. There you go. That one. Yep.
This is the best.
What is this?
The best.
Oh my God. This is Dr. Sin. But it's not called Dr. Sin because it was, you can't have Dr. Sin in a Disney movie. So this is called The Scarecrow of Romney Marsh, where he plays a vicar,
right,
who is secretly goes around dressing as a scarecrow.
Okay.
Avenging, people and all this sort of thing.
Bear in mind, it's the 1700s, so he's helping the people in his town fight the taxation
it's like
of
Robin
King
Hood.
George.
Oh, yeah. Is it a family film, Matt?
Yes, but it's very, very dark. And so it's with his mysterious mask, chilling laugh, and eyes more piercing than steel, Dr. Christopher Sin, kindly clergyman by day, rides by night disguised as the Scarecrow, the villagers' only hope against the tyranny and taxes of King George III. And when the royal army steps up its reign of terror against the local villagers, the vicar turned vigilante is put to the ultimate test in this action-packed saga. Well worth it. Unfortunately,
I've never even heard of this.
no.
Really?
Because, yeah, you know why? Because it's one that Disney has tried to bury, really. This one is only available through a thing called Disney Rewards. So I don't know how you got yours, Retro Doc, but like
I actually
had to
found
get mine
mine,
from
Matt, on eBay. This was
Yep.
this was in
eBay.
such fan demand for
Yep.
years.
This is so
that-
expensive. This is the most expensive Blu-ray I have ever paid for. Like seriously, for one
They're
single
all
Blu-ray.
ridiculously expensive. It was
No, but this is so hard to find.
But Dan, this is not. Don't let the Disney thing throw you to think it's like this is
No.
sanitized and soft.
No, I remember
is
what the
when-
films
This
were
was
like.
made in
Well, I was-
1963, so this was after he filmed the
oh,
first
this is
series of
before
Danger
The
Man,
Prisoner.
but before he did the second series.
Because obviously McGowan did go on to work with Disney multiple times, even into the 80s. He was in the dinosaur film Baby and things like that.
Yeah.
This
But
is
I never knew about any of this.
no. This is what you're here for.
This terrified me as a kid.
but this is like this is stuff that's like you remember when Disney was doing a lot of stuff with England, like he'd be doing Treasure Island and you know and Pollyanna and all these sort of weird movies, you know.
It's quite likely I've seen this film because all of those used to be on TV all the time. Those Disney movies, as you say, all those classic adaptations, the Kirk Douglas 20,000 Leagues, all that, and the darker stuff was all. They used to show that on the TV here, but it disappeared minimum of 20 years ago.
Another
probably 30.
movie that I've been trying to get a hold of, and it's been forever, is a movie called. It's another Disney movie, and it's a horror. It's actually a ghost story. It's called Child of Glass, and if you've never seen it, it's really, really, really good. It's just hard to find. So if you can find Child of Glass, then do it. But yeah, this is this. I'm just waiting to watch this.
Amazon.ca. Yeah, $79.99. Okay, yeah,
yeah, I paid $80 Australian for it on eBay, and the
well
guy
worth
was local.
Well worth it.
The guy was local. Well, I've just bought also
I'll add it to my wish list.
ordered Escape from Witch Mountain and Return to Witch Mountain with Christopher Lee.
Got one of those.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, no, that's not the one with the remake with The Rock, is it?
No. I'm talking the original film. So this Scarecrow movie, is that in black and white or color? The 63.
No, it's color, mate. Color. All in color.
Patrick McGowan is so good in this.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to try and get hold of this somehow.
Yeah.
What else have you got, mate?
Okay, one more. So this, finishing off our horror theme, this is a movie that I remember watching back on television in the 90s, and it was extremely edited to hell, and it has one of Chris's favorite actors, I reckon.
Oh, is this the surprise you had for me?
Yeah, well, that was that. But
oh, okay, cool.
This is another one, but I reckon you'd have this movie. It actually stars Robert Englund, and it also stars Bob from Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs, and it's called The Mangler.
Oh, I've seen this.
And it is
okay, frustrating story about that one. I've been meaning to get that for years. Scream Factory recently did their Shocktober sale where I spent more money than I'm willing to admit. I was finally going to get it. I had it in my cart. Everything's ready to go. Get the message. One of your items cannot ship to Canada. Guess which one it was? Yeah, so I had to. I am going to get it eventually, but it's like $60 to import it.
Oh no, I got this on special from
Oh,
Amazon
that's the
Australia.
region. That's the region 2.
Yes, it's the British version, but it's from Arrow. But if you've never seen this, and I started watching it, and it is uncut. Okay, it is uncut. So there's a lot of really nasty scenes in this.
Oh yeah,
it was too nasty for me when I was 14.
Well, it's about a possessed press machine for sheets. Yep. And it eats pretty much everybody that it comes into contact with. So don't put your hand in the mangler. But Robert Englund in this plays a really fantastic part, and like he's unrecognizable really with his makeup and everything because he has he's made to look like a very old man. But yeah, if you've ever like thought about working in a laundry, this will turn you off. So that's it. That's it for now.
Thanks for that, Matt. Have you guys picked up anything, Gary, Chris? Have you got anything on order that you can't wait to turn?
You know what? I actually just really quick, just a couple of keeping in the theme of the season. One of the things I recently picked up is one of my most beloved TV series, which is the complete series of Kolchak the Night Stalker.
Oh, beautiful! Is that on Blu-ray?
This is a gorgeous.
Love Kolchak.
It's been in my been in my Amazon cart for at least a year.
Oh, I mean, every single episode has an audio commentary from like a horror author, podcaster, whatever. And then I also have the original 2 movies, The Night Stalker and The Night Strangler. But I am a colossal Kolchak fan, so this is
that's wonderful. The only reason I haven't bought those is because they won't play on British players. Otherwise, I'd have ordered them.
I have the DVDs. That's all.
Yeah, I've got them too.
And lastly, I'm just going to say I'm going for a little bit more aesthetic Halloween this year with Elvira's Haunted Hills and
I should have those.
Double bill.
Yes, a double bill, Dan. Absolutely right.
Double D bill.
The Screen Factory with the fancy. That's the same hard case that they used for the Halloween films. Because they printed them at the same time, and they're like, "Well, we're doing Halloween. We'll just put it because it was cheap. So like, we'll just get a 6 because Elvira's coming out the same day. So I will do the same hard case."
There you go.
I'm always very surprised. I mean, I've seen Cassandra Peterson interviewed, and she's a really lovely woman, clearly with masses of life experience, showbiz experience under her belt. And but more than 3 or 4 minutes of her as Elvira, and I just makes me want to put my foot through the TV. I mean, it's it's got a great pair of tits, great, brilliant. I love that as much as anybody else. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
She has a great pinball machine too.
Yeah. if you like just like corny,
I like her more than
jokes.
I like Elvira.
Yeah. You have to expect what you're. You kind of have to know what you're getting into when you watch those. But I have them both. I like it, but I know what I'm watching. It's
so Dan, I'm guessing that you wouldn't be watching this multiple times for the multiple audio commentaries and stuff, and you wouldn't be doing it over and over.
It has a great documentary on it.
When they came out, because I would literally rent anything that I couldn't see at the cinema. I would rent it. We used to have this deal going with the local VHS rental shop, and they gave you this card, and you paid. I think it was £10 for the entire year. And you got unlimited rentals on titles that were sort of catalog titles, anything that was 6 months old or older, it's anything old. So at any given point, there were 2 cassettes out on rental in our home at any given time. So the rotation was constantly going. So I would try pretty much anything, and those were some of the films I just. I don't know what it was.
They're a bit off, aren't they?
It's the sense of humor wasn't my sense of humor then, and I've seen a little bit of them since. And it's a little something too broad for me. A Carry On fan. I don't know. It's the same joke over and over again. You've got a great pair of tits. We know.
Did you know? Here's a little thing. Did you know that actually Brad Pitt was originally supposed to be in that Elvira Mistress of the Dark movie?
This one?
Yep, that one. And they decided that no, because Brad Pitt would actually steal all the scenes, even though he wasn't well known. He wasn't
Even
known
from
back
the
then.
twins.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
He was supposed to play the love interest, and they ended up trying to get someone a bit more bland.
Wow.
So yeah, interesting stuff. There's a great documentary on there, by the way. So
Yeah,
she's a fascinating woman. Very, very funny. And
oh yeah. No, it's just a shame now.
I'm going to try and get an autobiography or something.
It's a shame she just came out.
Yeah, that was a very sad day.
I mean, I mean it sincerely. I do not care about the sexual orientation of anybody on television. It's of no consequence to me at all. She's happy. I don't care.
It's
what she said afterwards.
Her beliefs are what came out, and good God. Now I'm very
But I mean,
sad. Thanks for reminding me.
I appreciate what Dan's saying. You do have to kind of have a relatively high tolerance for shtick to kind of make it through an entire one of these movies in one run. So I mean, I do get what Dan's saying. In all fairness, I think by the time I found those movies, I first saw Elvira in a house ad, and I think it was an ad for the film in the back of it, because I used to read anything and everything that Marvel and DC put out between 83 and 91, 92. I read pretty much every book every month, and so the house ad used to come up for lots of American stuff that just wasn't a thing here, and that film was one of them. And I thought, but I loved American culture, and I would jump on these things. So when that film turned up in the video shop, I thought, I'll try that, and it felt like I was joining. It felt like I was joining a party halfway through. It felt like everybody knew the jokes, everybody knew the dance. Yeah.
And I got the impression that she was a really established figure even by the time she'd done that movie.
Yeah.
And the film, from what I remember, because I've never gone back to it, I'm thinking back 30 years here, didn't sort of gave you no opportunity to sort of play catch up with it. It assumed that you already knew who Elvira was and knew what the joke was. And she's fine, it's like...
To redeem myself, I do have one that I can't believe I forgot. My favorite horror movie, my favorite John Carpenter movie, the 4K new version of The Fog.
I have that one. What do you mean it's a new version? Is there
a new 4K?
No, it's the new 4K.
It's a new
just came
4K
out.
version.
Oh, I've had 4K for the last 3 years.
What a great poster.
Yeah.
Is it another scan of it?
Yeah, it's from Scream Factory, and it just came out. It's like within the last 2 months, so it's relatively new. But there you go.
Must be a bit.
I've seen. I think my mate Kevin. I think he must have been him, because I know very few people who buy laser discs. But I've seen the front of the laser disc of that, and it's got obviously it's a circular pattern on the front with that image in the dead center. And I think the outer trim is all in red, and the fog, the lettering is actually in red too, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's the one I've got. But one thing that I will ask is not to watch this version, not the one that was made in early 2000s.
Oh, it's a work of genius.
Tom Welling's in it?
Tom Welling, yeah.
Tom Welling.
It's the best movie you'll ever see.
It gave me a headache.
This is on a whole new level. It's the most brilliant remake I've ever seen. It's up there with 99's The Haunting. They destroy the original films.
I prefer The Haunting after that. Jeez, that was just awful.
That was sarcasm.
I can't sit through this. It's just dreadful. And then I'm sitting through it and I'm watching it, and I'm just like, this can't get any worse.
Oh, it does.
It does.
It's terrible.
No, I've never seen that.
It's on Netflix.
I have got some more bad news for you, gentlemen. It's the end of car boot sale season in Great Britain, because the weather's changed. Nobody's out standing in the middle of a field at 6 o'clock in the morning because it's been peeing it down with rain the night before. So you can't get your cars on the field. So it's all over. But it didn't end before I got a chance to get a couple of bargains. I was thrilled with this. And don't judge me, everybody, because I know, again, this is a film, Chris, everybody hates this film, but I like it. I got the Blu-ray of Prometheus there, and that was for 50p.
Not even worth that.
I say you've all gone really quiet. I think, oh no, don't know about that, Dan.
I love it when Dan opens his swag bag.
So yeah, this is it's got the O-ring on there with the guy's face. That's sort of like this shiny pattern. But I saw this at the cinema. Keith Isles is actually in this.
Oh, you paid money to see it at the cinema?
Yeah, but I've bought this and I'm going to get Keith to sign it.
I was just going to say, you need to get him to autograph it.
Is Keith in it?
Keith's in it. Yeah.
Oh, really? What's he playing in it?
I don't know what I can't remember what he was doing actually, but I do know that he's in
There's
some
not that
scenes
many characters in
Michael
it.
Fassbender. No, but he's in
Oh.
the background moving around. I don't know if they get him to
Wow,
say much.
that's
If they don't,
great.
it's their
He's an
loss, Keith.
extra.
Yeah, if he doesn't say much, it's their loss. But yeah, I'm quite fond of this film, and yeah, I haven't seen it for a few years
I have
though.
it in
Come to
3D.
think of
Okay,
it.
I like the Resident Evil films, so yeah.
I had
Not
one of my
the series. I refuse to watch the new series, but
Oh,
yeah,
no,
we all
no.
have our guilty pleasures.
I also managed to get this is something I've been after for a while. Now I know the 1981 one is far better. I've got that too, everybody. I've already got it, so don't jump down my throat. A list of comments and all this sort of thing. But I really like this. This is the version from around 15 years ago, the co-production with the Sci-Fi Channel and the BBC of The Day of the Triffids with Doug Ray Scott and
okay.
Jolie Richardson and Eddie Izzard when he had a beard and
Your future Prime Minister.
Say
I
what?
haven't seen that one, Dan. Is it good?
It's a mini series, and it's very very glossy. Like I said, the BBC they've got it badged as seen on the BBC, which means they had F4 to do with it. So it's 3 or 4 other people made it. I really like this. It's very very pacey. It was a sensitive update. And yeah, I mean, I imagine
and all you have to do is to survive a plane crash is steal everybody's lifesavers, go into the toilet and blow them up and use them in the
remembers more about
toilet.
it than I do. But
I remember the
I
1981 version of
Awful.
John Datine. That was
yeah,
not that
of
Doug
course
Ray
I've-
Scott.
Of course, I've got that, but yeah, this is a standard sort of run around mini series. It's still set in Great Britain, so they haven't relocated it. It's got some good old British actors in there too. I think Brian Cox is in this as well. Yes, he is.
Wow.
And Jason Priestley from Beverly Hills 90210 is also in this too. So it's a bit of something for everybody there in the Day of the Triffids. But you know, when you really enjoy something, when I saw this originally, I didn't think I was going to like it. I don't usually jump on these things, but yeah. So very hard to get on DVD. I found that at a car boot sale. That was 10p. I got lucky there because it was deleted years ago. Nobody wants it. Everybody agrees with that.
It's on Amazon Prime here.
A film I've never seen, and I don't. Again, this was a mad moment. I think I had this to make up an offer. Was The Nutty Professor with Eddie Murphy?
Oh.
We recently talked about. I've never seen it, and who directed this? I can't see this on the back, but yeah, I've never seen this or the sequel, and it was one of those where it's like £5 for £1. Which one do you want? I thought, give me that.
It was all right. That's the first one, right?
So it would come out about 1994, maybe something like that.
It was around mid-90s. Yeah, it was okay. It was Eddie Murphy being Eddie Murphy. You know.
I have no idea who else is in it. Jada. Is that Jada Pinkett?
He plays Eddie Murphy.
60?
Seriously, plays like 6 roles in this.
Yeah, which could be a bit too much because
the clumps.
Yeah, I'm not an Eddie. I do like Eddie Murphy, but he's made more crap than good stuff. So, but a lot of people who grew up watching this do seem to really rate it. So I thought, well, I'll give that a go. I've only going to lose 90 minutes, and it might have that kind of what you were talking about Hocus Pocus on yesterday's show, Chris. It might have a 90s flavour to it that I'll appreciate now.
Well, it does have that.
Matt's in agony, but I always applaud Dan's optimism when he heads out to the car boot sales.
Always. I mean, the another thing that I do a lot as well,
I love
actually not very often, is that sometimes when you've got a lot of DVDs and when you've seen a lot of movies, I don't know if you ever have this, Chris, but sometimes there's a film that I've seen so many times and it's so old, it's been in my life for decades, I assume I've already got it. And then I look through my collection and I realize that I don't actually own it.
That happens to me quite often.
Yeah, but it amazed me to find out not that long ago that I didn't actually own Cobra with Sylvester Stallone. And so I saw this at the car boot sale. I thought, I've got to get that, got to get it in. Because again, one of his lesser films, but when I was growing up, this was really important to me. I think it was the first film I ever got on illegitimate VHS tape. It had got at the beginning of it, I think it got a trailer for Rocky IV, something like that on, but it was like 3rd generation. But yeah, I'm really fond of this movie, and
that's great.
I can't believe I hadn't got it. You think it's been out for years and years and years, but
I've owned it for years. I bought Scream Factory came out with it, 4 years ago, maybe 5. I still haven't. I keep meaning to. It's not like I've got a list of stuff I keep meaning to watch. I can't. And I'm going to finally watch that this week. Okay, you've inspired me. I will finally open it.
Another one that's been. I don't even know when this movie came out. So The Fugitive came out in 1993 with Harrison Ford. And they wanted to carry on that series, didn't they? Somehow, Harrison Ford was long
U.S.
gone.
Marshals.
Instead, they made U.S. Marshals there, 1998. So that's 25 years old.
Jr.
I have never seen this film, but now I own it on DVD. And I is it Andrew Davis directed it?
Yeah, it's
Something
okay.
like that?
It's okay if you're looking
Wesley
for like
Snipes.
a typical 90s action film.
Wesley Snipes, Robert Downey Jr. Yeah, so that exactly. I thought, well, I can't really go far wrong with this, and it was one of those 5 for a pound. So I give that a go too. Love The Fugitive. I mean, I don't know how tied it is to it. He plays the same character, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he has the
Tommy Lee Jones.
he has the same team there.
Yeah.
with him
Oh, okay.
From,
Well, I mean, Tommy Lee Jones had won an Oscar for his portrayal,
That's right.
so it was a given that there was going to be a sequel. But he couldn't kill again. So
Harrison Ford's not
obviously
in it,
Harrison
Dan,
Ford
so
couldn't
don't,
be in it
don't
again.
expect a Harrison Ford cameo.
Bang up to
Is he
date
in it?
now.
No, I'm saying I'll tell you,
I was
Dan.
gonna
Don't
say.
expect Harrison Ford to show up.
No, he's not in it.
Bang up to date now for my last pick. You're gonna like this, or maybe not. I can't. I only bought it
you're
because it was
worried.
new. This is I know, but I do actually own now on DVD a copy of G.I. Joe Snake Eyes there, which was
I've got that
massive.
too.
I
Massive.
got it in the bargain bin for $5 for completion's sake.
me too.
One day when
I'm
I'm
with
really
Chris.
bored, I'll watch it.
It's exactly the same story here, mate. I fully expect it to be just as awful as everybody says. But I have a bit of a fascination to seeing it. I don't know.
Are you a G.I. Joe person, Dan? Because I'm not. I've never ever. We never had the cartoon growing up, and
we didn't either. It has
Well,
got
I had all the
impact here
figures.
at all.
I had my base, my big G.I. Joe base. Didn't watch the show much though. I just like the figures.
It
Are
wasn't
there
a
any
thing
Doctor
here.
Who actors in this one, like Eccleston was in the first one?
Well, we live in hope, Gary. We live in hope. But I just think it could be a laugh. And obviously, Snake Eyes was the cool character. The guy that plays him, I've seen him. He's quite good in other things. Henry Golding, that's it. I mean, I watched that terrible film he did, the VAM movie last Christmas, and Emilia Clarke and this guy were the leads, and they were the only 2 good things about it, really. So I think, well, it might be okay. Over here in Britain,
guilty pleasure. She's very cute in that movie.
That's pretty much why I bought it.
Yeah, I got it too.
But I thought he was okay. No, G.I. Joe, next to no impact in Britain at all. They brought it over here eventually in around 1986-87. They renamed it as Action Force. And they still didn't show the cartoons, but they reprinted the comics. Marvel UK reprinted the comics, a lot of which were pretty good. They used to it had its own series at first, and then was a sort of backup strip in the Transformers. They merged it with the Transformers, so it was always in the shadow of the Transformers here, and it was okay. I've got a bit of a soft spot for G.I. Joe, but
the comics are still going over here. I think IDW is still doing the G.I. Joe comics over here.
They've just lost the license. It's
That's
going
right,
somewhere else now. Yeah. I don't know who's going to have it. Probably Boom are going to pick it up next. I can't see Marvel getting it. Yeah, I have to wait and see. But yeah, that's my stash for this time. So it'll be a bit lighter coming up over the next few months. A lot fewer car boot sales.
Not from me.
Well, this is it. I'm trying to find instead the network sales on. I'm definitely going to treat myself to something in that. And I still have a look through the charity shops, the second-hand stores and things like that, and see what I can find. But at the car boot sales, people are practically throwing this stuff at you. That's one of the reasons why I go. But let us know what you think of all that in the comment section. Are you a physical media person? Do you have a massive collection of movies? And are you the person when you're are you the person in the pub where people sit around and complain and say, oh, I was going to watch that movie and then they took it off Netflix? Are you the guy or the girl who sits there smugly smiling to yourself thinking, don't have that problem? Let us know in the comment section. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the cloister bell to get your notifications about what we're doing next. Chris, Gary, Matt, thanks for this and the previous show. I'll catch up with you all soon. And you guys too. You enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll speak to you all again soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, he says, looking for his clip. Where is it? Here it is.